Virginia's General Assembly has approved long overdue budget legislation. Lawmakers voted in favor of $1 billion in tax reductions. The budget also boosts spending on public education by more than $600 million and allocates more money for mental health services and supports the law enforcement community. Republican Governor Glenn Youngkin applauded the budget, and he said in part, more than $1 billion in tax relief is on the way to Virginia veterans, working families, and businesses. Additionally, this collaborative effort ensured the funding of our shared priorities. I want to welcome in Virginia State Senator Scott Surovell. He represents Virginia's 36th district. Thank you so much for being here today. From your perspective, what were the top priorities that you saw in the budget?
Well, from my caucus's perspective, the number one objective was to push back on the governor's corporate tax cut. He wanted to lower corporate tax rates lower than what everyday Virginians pay in our taxes, and we got that done. That was the number one thing. He was also pushing some other tax cuts, which we didn't think were sort of, well, a good idea. They ended up compromising about 90% to our position. You know, Congress is about to shut down. The governor needed to avoid, you know, that kind of an image in Virginia, and so he was kind of boxed in. So they came to our side, and we basically agreed to have a one-time refund of about $800 or $900 million. He's calling that tax relief. It's really just a refund. And there's only about maybe $60 or $80 million of tax policy changes. We raised the exemption for military pay. So if you're a retired military veteran, you don't have to pay in Virginia income tax at all anymore starting July 1. And there was a couple other little changes, but K through 12 was really what we prioritized in terms of spending, and that's what we focused on.
I want to talk about schools. Yeah, what are the changes there? Because that was very important, and I know that the governor will be on Fox News Sunday in about 15 minutes here talking about education in Virginia. But what are the changes within schools and the budget here? Yeah,
the governor had only proposed in his budget to increase education spending on K through 12 by about $100 to $150 million. We actually got the Republicans to agree to over $1 billion of new money coming to our schools. The biggest change was about $400 million in direct aid, which is the money that goes right to our school systems to pay for services. We also ended a recession-era policy that we had in place called the support cap, which is the amount of money the state pays for like support employees, for like guidance counselors, mental health counselors, nurses, and things like that. People we really need post-pandemic to help our kids get through what they're going through. We got rid of that policy. There's about a couple $100 million for that. And we also have a big 2% pay raise for teachers. So in total now, we're going to have raised teacher pay in Virginia by about 12% over the last 2 years, which my caucus has been adamant that we need to get done.
We talked about a lot of things, mental health funding. There are also changes there. There's more money coming to that. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, Virginia's mental health system is really on the, it's really on the rocks. We have a big bed shortage in Virginia. It's hard to just get people services when they need them. We have historic investments in mental health in this budget, probably about, I think it's about $140 million new dollars coming in. We actually need to put more in, but you can only put money in so fast. It takes a while to hire people and to build things to actually spend the money, but it's a big, huge, historic investment in mental health is way overdue.
So I understand you're saying all the things that your caucus helped pass, but this seems to me that at least the way the governor presented it, that this was a bipartisan effort, that everyone's on board with this, so we're expecting that he'll sign. I know you just gave a little chuckle there. What are you saying to that?
Well, I mean, the governor has this addiction to tax cuts, and we gave him some tax cuts last year. He came back and wanted even more, and we just can't keep cutting taxes. It's not prudent, and that was basically the holdup for the last 6 months. And the House Republican caucus was taking the governor's position, and my caucus said, no, we're not just going to keep cutting taxes. We have JLARC, our independent auditor, found our schools are underfunded in Virginia by $4 billion. We have the 10th highest per capita income in America, or median family income in America, and our school spending is below the national average by 14%. And so from our perspective, it was very important for us to hold out for that K through 12 investment and to hold out against those tax cuts that the governor wanted, because we just can't continue to keep cutting our government when we have all these needs and people demand high quality services in Virginia. And so he frames it as bipartisan, but he basically gave up when he saw that Congress is about to shut the government down. He doesn't want that visual in Virginia when he's trying to run for president, and we got elections going on in Virginia, and so he needed to do something, and he basically came to our position.
I want to switch gears and talk about something a lot of folks wonder about, the commanders, and perhaps where their new home might be. I know that Virginia has sort of dabbled in what's happening now, a $250,000 study as to having a sports team in Virginia. Where are you on this?
Well, actually, 2 of the proposed stadium locations were in my district, in Woodbridge and Dumfries. And so I've been very focused on it, and I think it's something that we ought to explore, but I think getting the study in for the consultant is actually a good idea, because, these billionaires have a lot of money and they have a lot of really high-paid, smart people to sort of figure out the best deal and negotiate. And if we're going to actually have a negotiation, we need to be prepared and informed and know exactly what we're getting into so we can look out for taxpayers and make sure we cut the best deal possible. Most people, I think, don't like the idea of us putting general taxpayer dollars into any kind of project. But the last project was a $3 billion entertainment complex, and I think that's something that has some real value, and it was going to be funded solely by the taxes generated by the project itself, not by any general taxpayer money, just by taxes generated by the project. And if we're going to negotiate a deal like that, we need to be informed. And so I think, you know, spending a little bit of money just to get a consultant to look at it so we sort of know what the boundaries are is not a bad thing.
Is there an appetite for a stadium that you see from Virginia residents? Is there an appetite for them to have a stadium within the Commonwealth?
You know, it's interesting. I mean, the big problem with the team is it doesn't have any fans anymore, and I think we're about to find out today that
I was going to say, wait a minute.
A bunch of people. Well, I've been a fan my whole life, right? But it's been really hard to root for the team for the last 10 years with everything going on the field, especially. But I think that you're going to see today at the stadium, they're going to have a pretty full stadium, and I think that's going to be pretty exciting. And I think as people start to get interested in the team again, there might be an appetite to start going back to football games. But it's a big project, and the biggest issue with Prince William was traffic. They wanted to put it right at the worst bottleneck on the East Coast, and I think if there's a place in Virginia where it would work, where traffic would work, people might be open to that idea.
All right, we'll have to wait and see. Thank you so much for your insight on the topics we discussed this morning. Virginia Democratic Senator Scott Surovell, thank you again for being here.